They're going from $66 an hour to $136 an hour, all in labor costs for these employees. Nobody's going to be able to handle that. That really shows me that Elon has pricing power in the industry that nobody can match. Nobody can touch Elon. Nobody can touch Tesla. Elon Musk is completely ripping apart the UAW auto strike. He basically is saying, you guys get ready to go bankrupt and I'm about to take all of your business. Hey, if you're just tuning in, my name is Christopher Yule and we cover the biggest headlines of the day and what the AI trading data says about them. And if you're interested in that too, be sure to definitely hit the subscribe button down below. And start trading with AI today. Go to ovtlwire.com to see why outliers win. Now, Elon Musk says the UAW strike demands will drive America's big three automakers into bankruptcy. And I understand why, right? We just talked about this on yesterday's video, that they're going from $66 an hour to $136 an hour, all in labor costs for these employees. Nobody's going to be able to handle that, right? They want a 40% pay raise and a 32-hour work week. Well, that's a sure way to drive GM, Ford, and Chrysler bankrupt in the fast lane. Right, that's his words right there, coming from his Twitter account. The UAW workers demand higher wages, cost of living adjustments, and a 32-hour work week, and that represents 150,000 workers. And this is saying it'll cost between $100 and $125 million in revenue per week. But once that fully shuts down all of their all of their labor line, all of their, what am I trying to say? Once that fully shuts down all of their assembly lines, that's the word. Once it fully shuts down all of their assembly lines, we're looking at $250 million a day, or what the reports that I've seen. $250 million a day that GM and Ford and Stellantis are going to lose because of this strike. Elon strongly objects to any prospect of unionization at Tesla. It's a hard word to say. In February, the company fired dozens of employees at its plant in Buffalo, where it says a National Labor Relations Board claims it was in retaliation for union activity and to discourage the unions from even starting to form. And the UAW is concerned about the electric cars, which have fewer parts and need fewer workers to assemble, leading to bigger job losses in the industry. And it makes sense, right? Now, when I decided to buy a Model Y, I was so excited about it, right? I was looking for a Model Y Performance in gray with black interior, and I didn't need the extra autopilot and anything, right? And I remember daily going through and pricing it out. I had so much fun, right? Every week or so pricing it out. But then there was this huge announcement that Tesla was having price cuts. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I mean, I'm not ready to buy my car just yet, but I can't wait to be paying less for it. I mean, we're talking like $15,000 price cuts. And then I used to drive a Mini Cooper. And one day I went out into my garage and literally the garage was flooded with all the fluids from my Mini Cooper, right? I loved that car. It was so much fun to drive. But there was a point in time where the higher powers were like, Chris, it's time for you to buy a new car. And I kid you not, between the time that my car blew up and the time that I ordered my Tesla, they had actually had a second price decrease. So I bought my Model Y Performance for the lowest price there ever was ever. And in fact, it's actually gone up a little bit since then. And that really shows me that Elon has pricing power in the industry that nobody can match. Nobody can touch Elon. Nobody can touch Tesla. And these UAW workers who are trying their very best to make everything cost more on the American automakers, they are screwing themselves over. They are. When Tesla costs less to manufacture, has incredibly more pricing power, when Tesla needs less workers and less equipment and less parts, like there's no chance that these auto workers, what they're doing to increase the price of all of the GM, Ford and Stellantis cars, it's going to backfire in their faces. There's going to be huge job cuts. There's going to be huge just demand destruction. There's going to be huge demand destruction for all of these American auto manufacturers because nobody's going to want to buy them when they can get a Tesla for half the price that is so much easier to buy. Oh my gosh, buying it was so easy. It was just like buying something from Amazon. Click a couple buttons, everything's included except autopilot already. And so there's not 100 different options you have to go through. It's just click, 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 and send, right? You may have to wait a couple weeks or a couple months to get it, but the process was so much easier than going into a dealer. The legacy auto industry is ripe for disruption, and they are shooting themselves in the foot by having these labor relation negotiations go on. They're going to be losing $250 million a day. Their cars are going to cost more. Nobody's going to be buying these things, and everybody's going to be flooding over to Tesla. And that's why Elon is so excited about it. They want a 40% pay raise and a 32-hour work week. Yeah, that's a great way to see those big three automakers go bankrupt. And one other thing too is that, like, on the maintenance front, right? Usually when you get a car, you've got to change your oil every 3,000, 5,000 miles or whatever, right? I had a service call. The service call was it was the best thing ever. I used the app and said, hey, my passenger side front window isn't rolling up all the way. Sometimes it feels like there's an obstacle in the way. And so the tech came out. He came to my house. The tech drove to my house in a Tesla. He got into the computer of the car. He saw all these error codes from when it was happening. So he didn't have to replicate it on site. He could see every code when it happened. And he's like, no big deal. He goes out, puts in a new window regulator, right? The new part that rolls it up and down. And then he was on his way. And that was it. And the experience was amazing. And I asked him, I said, okay, what kind of maintenance am I going to have to do? Because nobody's actually told me all the maintenance that I have to do for this. And he said, you don't have to do anything. You literally don't have to do any maintenance at all. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, listen, you don't have to change any fluids. You don't even have to rotate your tires. You don't have to do anything with this. It literally doesn't need any maintenance. And the tires, you don't have to rotate on my car, at least, because the front wheels are narrower than the back wheels. And because of that, he's like, you can't rotate them anyway. So you don't have to do any maintenance whatsoever. Blew my mind. So as a Tesla owner, I can say, I'm not going back. There's no reason to go back. At some point, they're going to get the charging infrastructure to where it's at every single gas station, and electric cars are going to take over the world. It's just a fact. It's just a matter of time. All the government regulations, they want that to happen because it has less pollution, right? And it stimulates the economy to buy these new cars. But nobody is wanting to pay more for those existing legacy auto manufacturers with their old school dinosaur cars. My wife drives a Lexus. And when I get into it, I tell her all the time, I'm like, this thing is slow. This thing is just old. It just feels old. It's a beautiful Lexus and it works great, but it's like driving a dinosaur. The whole auto industry has been upended by Elon and what he's doing. And the UAW auto workers are destroying themselves from within. So let's go see what the AI trading data says about Tesla. We got a sell signal back on September 14th. So if you were already in Tesla, it definitely was a time to be taking profits because right now this market correction is hitting everybody out there. Now, if you want to get access to these data, in fact, this has a 265% return using these signals. If you want to get access to this data, go to ovtlyr.com to see why outliers win. Now, let's go look at what people are saying about this, right? That's what they get for inflating the prices of the fuel vehicles in a lame attempt to make EVs look more appealing. Well, I guess if you're pricing up your trucks 50%, trying to make your EVs look appealing, that's one way to do it, I suppose. And the worst part is that was an attempt to drive people away from Tesla. It did not work, right? Let's see what it says here. Usually when you earn a significant raise, it's because of your skills and hard work. And the UAW is asking to earn more and work less. Listen, that is exactly why Elon Musk is saying, yeah, that's a surefire way to drive them into bankruptcy. And if you like this video, YouTube thinks you're going to love one of these two. Thanks for tuning in to today's Outlier Live, and we'll see you on the next episode.